Countdown to a 50th year clan reunion. A teaspoonful of rice. By Simeon G. Silverio Jr. Published in the San Diego Asian Journal, a leading Filipino newspaper in San Diego, California. Second of 3 articles. Get 1 teaspoonful of rice from each sack, his grandmother Inta ordered my 10-year-old father Simeon. It was their usual practice whenever they ran out of rice to eat. Inta, a shrewd businesswoman who bought and sold the farmer's Pele harvest, would have them milled into rice and sold them to wholesalers. She would stack them in a storeroom waiting to be sold. By occasionally scooping 1 teaspoonful, she, hoping the buyers would not notice the difference, would have enough for her and her grandchildren to eat. The 4 children of her departed daughter Lorenza were entrusted to her care. Their father, Solomon, worked in a distant town and saw them sporadically. She ensured her grandchildren were taken care of and went to the elementary school in the barrio. Life in Plaridel, Bulacan during the 1920s was easy. There were fewer people and the rice harvests, the main crop in the area, were always enough despite the lack of man-made irrigation systems. Farmers did not use fertilizers then. The catfish, frogs, snails and other aquatic animals thrived in the rice fields and the swamp. There were more catch than the farmers could handle. They did not have to fish for them as often as today. One of my uncles would haul fish from the dike several times during the rainy season because there were plenty for the taking, my father Simeon once told me. These days, because of the widespread use of pesticides and fertilizers in the field, most fish and frogs are gone. The fertilizers and pesticides, however, allowed the farmers to plant and harvest rice multiple times a year, compared to one time before. All summer long, the fields would remain idle with dried rice stalks the cows would feast on. I remember one rainy visit to the province when my father let me join the local boys gather fish, crabs and frogs in the fields. We would insert our hands inside holes at the sides of the fields to pick our catch. It was how people then supplemented their food requirements. During the early years of the Spanish colonization of the Philippines, the Spanish priests, part of the colonizers from Spain, planned the clearings of a vast wooded area adjacent to the thriving municipality of Malolos. As the years went by, the priests would visit the settlements via the Angat River in wooden rafts. When the area was almost clear, they asked the natives who was responsible for the feat. The Pampangos, from the province of Pampanga exclaimed, "Quinwawa." So every now and then, to every question of the friars, the people would reply Quinwa. Thereafter, the place was called Quingua. In 1936, however, the municipality was renamed Plaridel, the revolutionary pen name of a great local hero, Marcelo H. del Pilar. Years passed. The children, despite lounging for their departed mother, grew used to her absence. What could you do? Simeon told his children. You could not bring back your mother and change the course of things. You just have to grin, bear it and move on. With a departed mother and an absentee father, it was hard. He had to grow up fast. I met a girl, Solomon told his mother-in-law into one time he went home to visit his children. And I am going to marry her. What about your children? Inta asked, frustrated. Solomon did not reply because he lacked the right answer. He remained quiet and let his mother-in-law vent her disappointment. He was still young and did not want to remain a widower the rest of his life. Can't you wait until your children are grown up? Inta asked him in desperation. He did not reply. He loved the new girl, Caridad, and could not afford to lose her if he did not marry her immediately. He loved his children but did not want to remain a single parent. He was confident his mother-in-law would not abandon them. His son, Simeon, was only 15 years old while his daughter Lily was 12, Aining was 10 and Mandang, 8. By then, Simeon was already in high school. He was an ambitious boy, enrolled at the town's St. James Academy, a private school very unusual for a poor and motherless boy from the barrio to go to. Most of his playmates dropped out of school since there was no public school available for them. But not Simeon. He would take the carretela, horse-drawn carriage, from their barrio to the town early in the morning and go home late in the afternoon. He barely had time for household chores and let his grandmother in to do the work with the help of his younger sisters. By all accounts, they worshipped their brother. They would wash and iron his clothes until he got married in his 30s. Solomon continued with his plans and settled his family in a nearby town while remaining a roving inspector of the water company. Moving from town to town, he sired 6 more children: Julio, Natividad, Luis, Gloria, Meli, and Rogelio. But lightning struck again when his second wife got sick and died, thereby making Solomon a widower twice over. Once again, a relative came to the rescue. The sister of his departed wife took care of the children in her hometown in Hagonoy, Bulacan. Eventually, they joined their step-siblings, the children of their father's first family in Culianan. The children all managed to live and help together with the financial support from their father. Eventually, Simeon, the eldest of the brood, became old enough to venture to Manila and work as an apprentice at the Bureau of Printing. The Bureau took care of the printing needs of the government. He became a compositor, putting together the movable types and outputs of the linotype machines as part of the printing process. But he was an ambitious man. In the evening, he would attend classes at the Lixon College in the hope of obtaining a business degree. His salary, the financial help of their father, plus whatever income the rest of the siblings would manage supported the family. They would gather grass from the fields and sell it to the xeros, coachmen, of the carretelas, local version of horse-drawn carriages, as horse feed. One time I saw an old popcorn cart under the house of my aunt. I surmised the family once sold popcorns at the town or barrio gatherings. The sisters were also proficient in making native rice cakes, which perhaps they made and sold to augment their income. On weekends, Simeon would visit his brothers and sisters in Culianan. His sisters would do his laundry as he would do some household chores and bond with his siblings. "I would often ask your father to buy me shoes when he went back to Manila," Luis, nicknamed Amang, the younger brother, would tell me as he recalled their childhood years. "He would even trace my foot to determine my shoe size." As soon as he boarded the bus on his way back to Manila, however, I suspect he would throw the piece of paper out of the window. Luis believed his brother would want to buy the shoes for him. He simply didn't have enough money to do so and had to carry on the charade to keep his brother's hopes and not disappoint him. Solomon eventually met another girl, Soledad, in Nueva Ecija. The couple got married and sired 5 more children: Luz, Reynaldo, Solomon Jr., Manuel, and Zenaida. On Saturday, July 11, 2026, the surviving children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren of Solomon Silverio will celebrate their annual clan reunion, for the 50th time. To be continued.